I'm having a piece of content going viral right now about how I bought 6 properties in 2023. A lot of the pushback is about my financial situation, and I don't want anyone to be fooled because I actually lost my job at the beginning of 2023. For about the last 5 years, my average income was actually around $55,000 a year. So I'm doing this video specifically on lifestyle inflation and how a lot of people fall into this trap. I get it. Everyone's circumstance is a little bit different, but these are kind of general rules to live by that no matter how bad your situation is, you can always make it a little bit better. So here's tip number 1. Go talk to a lender right now, buy a house. I bought both my primary residences. So bought one, house hacked, moved into the second one, rented out the first. I borrowed as much money as the bank would give me for both properties. That's called leveraging, and here's why. Let's take stocks and use easy math for an example. So if you take a $10 stock and a $1 stock, and they both appreciate at the same rate, let's just say 10%. Well, that first stock at $10 is gonna yield you a net return of $1, which is exactly what you invested in the first stock. And the second stock at $1 is going to yield you a net return of 10 cents, which is 10 times less than the $10 stock. Now, the difference with real estate, typically when you buy a house and you pay more money for it, it's going to be in a better part of town, which the better parts of town appreciate a little bit better than the worst parts of town. Now, there's some outliers here like gentrification and that kind of stuff, but that takes longer, and it all kind of equals out in the end, in my opinion. So that's another reason to take the $10 stock over the $1 stock. And the biggest reason is you can get somebody else, OPM, other people's money, to buy your real estate. I used the VA loan for my first primary residence, and I used an FHA loan for my second primary residence. The VA loan was 0% down. That meant I got to borrow 100% of my money besides the down payment, which was at that time, I think it was like just over $5,000 or maybe just under $6,000, which is really good. And my second primary residence, I borrowed 96.5%. So I put 3.5% down, plus I did seller concessions. But at this time, I was actually a realtor. So I negotiated 3% seller concessions, which is a hack. That's basically the seller giving you back money from the purchase price to put towards closing costs, rate buy down, or different transaction fees. And then I had my realtor commission, which at that deal was 3%. So I got 6% to put towards the down payment, closing costs, and I had a little bit left over for a bit of a rate buy down. You can afford this. I know it's scary. I know it's probably more than what you could rent a place for, but a bank will not lend to you if you can't afford it on paper. I'm going to show you later in the video how to afford it IRL, but on paper, a bank for an FHA loan will only lend you up to 57% your debt to income. Debt to income is how much money goes out versus how much money comes in each month. And they factor what you're already paying. So for mortgages, car payments, student loans, other kinds of debts, that kind of thing. So on paper, you have a third party, an interested party in not giving you too much money that you can't pay off, that calculates exactly how much you can pay off and will lend you to that amount. Now, this is how it all turned out. So I've actually never made a mortgage payment on either one of my primary residences. And the reason why I haven't is because I house hacked and then I rented out my first one for more money than my mortgage payment was. So somebody else has always given me money to pay for my houses. Let's talk about house hacking. I get it. It's not for everyone. You can do multi-unit or you can do ADUs, something like that. So there's not somebody actually renting out a room in your home, but this is how it worked for me. I rented out 2 rooms in my primary residence, and my renters ended up paying my entire mortgage plus $400 a month that I just used to pay my utilities. So not only did I live for free in my primary residence, but from the cash flow is everything above your monthly expenses, So I'm taking utilities out in this metric just because like I would be paying utilities even if I rented. So $400 a month over the span that I house hacked equaled the $5,000 to $6,000 that I spent for the closing costs. So at this point, that property just on cash flow alone is now just printing money, meaning I've already paid myself back for the amount of money that I put into it with cash flow alone. I'm not even counting the fact that I lived for free for multiple years. House hacking, super powerful thing in real estate. If you don't think you can afford a house, I don't think you can afford not to, because here's the deal. Both my primary residences are now currently renting for more than what I paid for them. And one of them I bought at the beginning of 2023 with a 5.7% interest rate. And it's still renting more than my mortgage. Think about that. Inflation goes up. A healthy inflation is between 2 to 3%. In the long run, rents go up at a higher rate. Take where I live, Boise, Idaho. My mom was renting a 4-bedroom, 4-bath when I was in high school for like $500. Now my 3-bedroom, 2-bath in the outskirts of town is going for $2,700 a month. The 30-year mortgage is the greatest hedge against inflation. You can lock in your rate and make sure that your mortgage will never get higher, and you can always refinance and make it lower. But with rent, you have no guarantee that one, you have a place to live. What if your landlord stops paying the mortgage? Or what if the house burns down and they get the insurance money and you get to go look for a new place to live? Or what if they just raise your rent to market standard? I know market rents have gone up significantly in the last couple of years, and people are pretty happy with the rental situation they have now, but there's no guarantee that that is going to stay the same. I see it a lot of my client when they feel forced to buy a place in a time that they're not quite ready to because they can't find a rental property that meets their needs for the amount that they're willing to pay. Don't be like that. Okay, I'm gonna get on to all the how did I pay for this. I mean, the big thing was the house hacking, but also meal prep. One, I'm a big dude. I like to work out. I like to be fit. I like to be healthy. I eat super clean, which is typically a little bit more expensive. It's harder to do if you go out, and I like to know where my food comes from. So meal prepping is super important. I eat 250 grams of protein a day. That's enough to feed a small family easily. And I've done this consistently for years with inflation, under $15 a day. That's about $450 a month in grocery bills. And I've hit that or gotten under that with depending on coupons and whatnot. And I'm not one of those guys that clips coupons. It's just like I go to Costco exclusively pretty much, buy my meat, do my fruits and veggies every week. I just eat the same thing. It's consistent. I mix up the seasonings to change the taste a little bit. Simple guy, but I like to know where my food comes from. I eat really clean and I eat a lot. There's a lot of recipes out there where you can mix things up. I should add in here budgeting, but I feel like that's just like an adult thing, and that's something that everybody should do. If you're not budgeting, rule number one is make a budget, a realistic budget, and stick to it. I'm about to get into learning skills, side hustles, entrepreneurship, how to bring in passive income. But before you focus on any of that, which I think is necessary for being a human being adult, having control of your finances, you don't get to focus on any of that until you're the absolute best at whatever you do. If you're in sales, you have to sell more than everybody else. If you're a teacher, your students better be testing at a higher percentage than anybody else in the school. If you're a nurse, you're the nurse that every patient wants to find because you're happy, you're healthy, and you give them a lot of value. I don't care what it is you do. All I care about is you're the absolute best at it. You need to work so hard and put so much energy and effort into strategically placing your time and thought into making yourself the best asset your employer has, that you're undeniably top tier. There is no such thing as job security, but you better make it really dang hard for your employer to let you go if they have to. I'm talking about once you're ahead of everybody else, you make it impossible for them to catch you, Because even in your trajectory of going up, even though they're trying to catch up with you and they're running and they're hustling and they're working, you are still providing more value at a higher rate than they can even catch up to you. Be the best. And if you're coming up with excuses or you're coming up with thoughts or pushback about why this isn't you or why it doesn't apply to you, you are the problem in your life. You are the reason why you are not financially independent. You are it. Nobody else. Take accountability and stop sucking. Now that you're the best, and it's not just to be the best, it's not to gloat over anybody, it's just because why would you ever do anything, even if it's just for money, and not be the best at it? Go find something else to do if you can't stand what you do. It's a character thing. Because if you can't be the best at the workplace, if you can't be the best trading your time for somebody else's money, then you will never make it. Besides some lucky or unethical circumstances, you will never make it as an entrepreneur. You'll never make it on your own. You have to be the best, because once you're competing against yourself, it is so easy to take a day off. And once you take a day off, you'll take a week off. And once you take a week off, you'll take a month off. And once you take a month off, you can't pay your mortgage and your family goes hungry. You're the best. Now learn a skill. You have more information readily at your fingertips. The thing you're looking at, you're watching me right now on, you have that, you have access to that. There's homeless people that have access to this video right now. There's homeless people that won't go get a job or won't go and find shelter. And I'm saying won't, not can't. But they have a cell phone and it's provided to them by the state. And instead of learning a skill and becoming something that will make money, they'll just sedentarily live off of the state. The cruel fact is, people who go get a college degree, get into debt, and then find a job and work till they're 40 years old and then can't retire because of inflation, they're the same as that homeless person. They're just living off of somebody else's, they're just making somebody else wealthy. Learn a skill. If you don't know what skill to learn, start looking in your industry. You're already the best. What is the guy underneath you doing, trying to be different, trying to be better than you? Learn that skill at a faster rate than they do. Or maybe you do want to be an entrepreneur. Maybe you want to go off on your own. Learn business, learn negotiation, learn how to manipulate money, how to use money, how to invest it to make you more money. Learn public speaking, learn about logical fallacies, learn critical writing. There are so many skills that matter in life that you probably don't practice or you probably haven't mastered, but you would use every day. I learned how to underwrite deals and negotiate from podcast, books, and YouTube. I've had people pay me $15,000 just to consult on their deals, underwrite their deals, structure their deals, negotiate for them, which because of the time that I put into learning the skill, did not take me very much time at all. And they happily did it because it made them a lot more money than that $15,000. I know that I missed a lot, like AI generation or video editing. So comment, what's your opinion? What are the best skills for a young entrepreneur to learn for a side hustle? Now getting into the side hustle, that's a whole gamut of skills like accounting and social media, marketing, creative writing, sales, negotiations. I could go down the list. There's a lot of skills you need to understand to get your great idea off the ground. So check out the comments. Hopefully the audience participated and gives you a good idea of where you should start. I know I got a little bit spicy in this video. The thing is you can all go out and do this. You just have to decide that you can go out and do this. Everything starts with here. Everything starts with your mindset. I hope this blesses you. If this helped you out at all and you think that it could help somebody else out, hit like, hit subscribe, share it with a friend. All that stuff helps another entrepreneur or somebody that needs to see this, see it. This is a small account. If you hit accountability down below, I'll reach out to you and we can figure out what you need to stick accountable and we can turn this into a community. There's nothing stopping us from making a movement out of this.